On the roof of the building, the Ripper is holding a group of children hostage. The negotiations have failed, and police are preparing for the assault. Then, the ultimate hero Jack Slater enters the scene. His boss Decker yells at him. He doesn't want Slater to interfere since he always causes a lot of damage. But no one can stop Jack. He needs to go upstairs, so he kicks out a policeman who stands in his way and promises to hurt the next one who will try to stop him. Jack climbs to the roof, where the Ripper, a real psycho, is holding his son Andrew hostage. The criminal's been waiting for Jack, as he promised to show Andrew how he kills his father. At some point, Slater got this scumbag locked up for 10 years, and now the Ripper seeks his revenge. He demands Jack drop his weapons. Jack puts the gun on the floor, but the perp knows well that Slater never bears just a single weapon, so Jack's got to lose all he got. Then he throws a grenade at the Ripper's feet, saying that it's live.
It's a live grenade.
Yeah, right, Jack, right. You're gonna sacrifice your own child to get to me. I'm very flattered, Jack, but I doubt it. Andy, pick up the grenade.
Andrew picks the grenade up, and it turns into a knife. He stabs the Ripper with it. The maniac screams in pain and throws his axe at Jack. Slater deftly dodges it and shoots at the Ripper. After that, the picture becomes blurry. The boy sitting in the cinema shouts that the film is out of focus and calls Nick, the projectionist, to fix it. The boy is a real movie buff. He knows all the films in and out and goes to the cinema whenever possible, even instead of school classes. Danny is waiting for the premiere of Jack Slater 4. As his good friend, Nick says he's going to check out the new Slater film tonight and invites the boy to be the first to watch the 4th installment of the franchise. Danny's mom doesn't like him skipping school, especially for watching movies. After slaving away a bit at his homework, Danny wants to go to the film screening, but he is attacked by a guy with a knife. He handcuffs Danny to the pipe, having found nothing of value.
No jewelry, no VCR, a TV that'll get me $20.
The criminal throws a key from the handcuffs in a toilet and leaves, saying that Danny may go fishing. It's near midnight. Danny's being questioned at the police station. After this, he should be going home, as his mom said him to.
Your mom says you to go straight home. She'll be there when the shift is over.
But Danny's in a hurry to go to the cinema. There he is greeted by Nick, in a ticket guy's costume, who hands him a special ticket that should take Danny to another world. Old Nick says that when he was Danny's age, it was given to him by Harry Houdini, who said it was a magic ticket. Nick never had the courage to check it out, afraid that the ticket wouldn't work.
And I wanted to try, but I guess I was afraid it wouldn't work. See, I was your age. Houdini was like a god to me. But what if he was faking?
Nick pulls the stub off and lets Danny to the movie hall. This premiere is solely for one viewer, Jack Slater 4, a palace on the edge of a cliff where Slater's second cousin, kidnapped by bandits, is kept. A man named Vivaldi, head of a criminal syndicate, is trying to find out what Slater knows about their business. His right hand, Benedict, a great shooter with a glass eye, helps to strike fear into the victim. But even under torture, they are unable to get any information from him. That's why they're sending a misleading message to Jack, to embarrass the investigators. After a while, we see how cops surround a house. They got a call that there's a drug bust. Then Slater shows up. He brought groceries for his cousin.
My second cousin Frank lives in there. The only drugs you'll find in there are aspirin.
He enters the house. His cousin is tied to a chair. He still manages to say a message to Jack and dies. Jack sees a stack of cards on his body. As Slater scrolls through them, he realizes that this is the countdown of the detonator. There was a powerful blast, but Slater got off lightly. Danny knows he will be all right since he is the protagonist, and according to the cinema cliches, nothing can happen to him. He chews popcorn and enjoys the movie when the ticket in his chest pocket starts to mysteriously shimmer. Suddenly, the dynamite from the movie flies into the hall and lands next to Danny. Running away from it, the kid ends up in Jack Slater's car. Jack doesn't understand where the kid came from, and Danny is happy to be in the thick of events, with chasing, shooting, and an AC/DC song playing in the background. Danny realizes he's inside the movie, but everyone else thinks it's their real life. The chase brings them to a small alley. Bandits block the exit with their pickup. Danny knows that Slater wants to do his play chicken trick. Jack accelerates towards the pickup and bandits do the same. A man looking like Shang Tsung, who is at the wheel of the red pickup, brakes and turns out of Jack's way. Bandit's car breaks into a nearby building, causing the girls inside to run and scream in panic. Jack and Danny come to the LA Police Department. At the entrance, the kid sees Sharon Stone as she appeared in Basic Instinct and the Terminator T-800. The police station looks like a shopping center. Slater takes the boy by the skin and puts him at the table, answers the call of his ex, saying nothing but simple, yeah. Then turns on a cassette player with a record of his agreeing phrases, puts the phone onto it, and goes on his way.
Yep.
John Practice, Jack's old friend and a colleague, hurries to inform him that 2 local criminal groups are planning to join their forces. Danny warns Jack that he needs to be careful with this practice since this actor killed Mozart in the movie Amadeus. But Jack doesn't want to hear all this movie crap anymore and doesn't believe they are inside one. The boss is yelling at Jack because he disrupted their operation. Jack Slater's just doing his job.
Just doing my job.
At this time, officers are receiving their duty assignments, and one of them gets a cartoon cat as a partner. Danny tries to prove to Slater that it's just a movie because the animated cat can't be in a police department. Jack agrees, and calmly notices that this cat is supposed to be back on duty.
Look out there, it's a cartoon cat.
He's supposed to be back on duty. He was only suspended for a month.
And the boss says that this cat is one of his best men.
That cat is one of the best men I got.
Seeing Slater and his boss having a quarrel makes Danny smile. He finds it funny, since actually they're best friends. The boy gives a couple of examples from their personal life.
Your dearest friends. After your wife left you for the circus midget, and Jack told everyone he drove her to New England to the diphtheria clinic. When he came back, you said, "You saved me from public humiliation, Jack. You're my dearest friend."
And Decker doesn't understand how the kid knows this. He thinks it's Slater who spilled that. But Jack doesn't reveal such details to anyone, Danny insists, saying that he learned it from the Jack Slater 1 movie. The officers still can't assume that they are just a part of the script. They get Danny interrogated, but a series of questions and a lamp lighting in his face do not change Danny's mind. The cops are puzzled by what the kid says, and Decker assigns him as Slater's new partner. Jack's blown away, and he gives the boy 10 minutes to prove they're inside a movie and promises to shoot him otherwise. But it doesn't scare Danny, since he knows that the good guys do not shoot kids in movies. The boy takes Jack to the video shop and asks for movies with Schwarzenegger, but there's Sylvester Stallone instead of him on the covers.
No, it isn't possible.
What's not possible? He's fantastic. This is his best performance ever.
The boy does not give up and asks for the phone number of the store, then the number of the girl working there. All of these numbers begin with 555. Danny says there can only be 9,999 numbers that start with 555, and there are much more people living in LA, so that's why they are in a movie. Jack says that's why they have area codes. The boy keeps searching for inconsistencies and insists that so many beautiful women are only possible in a movie. And Slater replies,
No, this is California.
But when Danny says that he can show him the house where Frank Slater was tortured, Jack is interested. They go looking for a house, and while they drive, the boy shows Jack the ticket, which brought him into the movie, and may possibly take them back to the cinema, but he doesn't know how to activate it. Then, Danny recognizes the house.
The bad guys are in there.
All I had to do is just drive around the neighborhood and point my finger at the house and say, the bad guys ain't there.
You think you're funny, don't you?
I know I am. I'm the famous comedian, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger.
Jack is still skeptical, but they go and knock at the door of the mansion. A tough Asian opens the door and Slater asks him to speak to the drug dealer who lives in this house. Asian laughs and closes the door, and while Jack talks to Danny, the door opens again and Benedict appears. He wants to clarify that drug dealer issue, but the boy immediately recognizes him and says that he has a glass eye. Jack asks him to take off his glasses, but Benedict threatens them with a bunch of nasty dogs.
I snap my fingers again, and sometime tomorrow you emerge from several canine recta.
How exactly are you gonna snap your fingers after I rip off both of your thumbs?
After the exchange of niceties, he shows his eye. Danny keeps sticking to his story. He says that Benedict hates his boss, and that day when they tortured Jack's cousin, he had a bullseye. Benedict hears him saying this and gets alarmed by the boy knowing too much. His boss is puzzled by the fact that Slater knows about them and he orders to get rid of the man who betrayed them and then Slater himself. Benedict, in turn, wants to know more about Jack's partner. Meanwhile, the newly minted partners come to the house of Slater's daughter. Jack and Whitney are having a great time.
It's old evidence. Counterfeit case. Looks real, doesn't it? Turns funny colors when you burn it.
In the drawer, Jack finds a photo of himself and his son Andrew and gets silent. Depressed, he goes out. While he's driving, Jack's memory pops up a picture of the Ripper grabbing Andrew before falling from the roof. This tragedy embitters his soul. Someone knocks at the door. Benedict himself is here with a whole bunch of gangsters. He asks Danny how he knows him, but the clever kid assures him that he saw his mugshots at the police station and heard the recording of what they were saying. Also, he knows about his eye because there were hidden surveillance cams. Danny tells the bandits to take the money from the desk and leave them alone, but Benedict is careful and immediately realizes that the bills are marked, so they burn them in the fireplace. At this time, Slater returns and sees the colored smoke coming from the chimney, so he realizes that they have guests. Whitney screams and lashes out at one of the bandits, Sonya Blade style, then points a gun at Benedict, who in return promises to kill Danny. Someone knocks at the door again. While everybody is diverted by the nerdy-looking guy at the doorstep, Slater breaks in through the ceiling and the shooting begins. Benedict and his men are trying to escape, but Jack wants to get him. Danny gets on a girly bike and races towards the escaping car. He sees himself as a good guy from a movie, which means that the play chicken trick should work. Then he realizes that he looks more like a comedy sidekick, so he turns aside and gets in the air with his bike, the moon behind him, just like in the Extraterrestria movie. Slater carries Danny and his bike on the shoulders, and the boy says Benedict took the ticket. Meanwhile, Benedict gets home, changes his eye, and finds the ticket in his stuff. He finds out that when he holds it, he can walk through walls. At Slater's house, the police inspect the scene. Danny writes a swear word on a sheet of paper and asks Jack to say it. Jack keeps refusing.
This is another one of your movie proofs.
And that is another proof that they are inside a movie because you can't swear when rated PG-13. The nerd memorized Benedict's license plate and saw that he lost his eye. A policeman finds it, twists the parts, and boom, the eye explodes. Now Danny and Jack are taking heat in the boss's office. He got hog wild so that steam's coming out of his ears. The boss took Slater's badge, so Jack packs his things from the desk when John Practice approaches him and offers to work together at the funeral of Leo the Fart. All the notorious criminals of the city are going to be there, but Jack's not up to it. Ex-partners come to Jack's place. Without looking, Slater shoots at the closet and an assassin falls out of it. Jack's upset by being suspended, but Danny tries to cheer him up by saying that he's going to get his badge back. Slater says it's getting harder for him and wonders how he keeps surviving. The boy recalls hearing something from Vivaldi about the funeral of Leo the Fart. Slater deduces that at the funeral, Leo the Fart will be stuffed with explosives and the nerve gas, so when he goes off passing gas one more time, the entire Torelli mob will be taken out, so Vivaldi owns the city. Meanwhile, at the funeral, Benedict triggered the countdown of explosives by pulling Leo's index finger. Slater and Danny are on their way. Jack leaves the boy in the car, saying that there's a gun in the glove compartment, just in case. Slater meets Practice and tells him that the fart is a bomb, and when Practice tries to trick him to the side entrance to the hotel, Jack immediately realizes that he is playing a double game. The rogue cop holds Jack at gunpoint, and then Danny points a gun at Practice, but does not have the courage to shoot. So a moment later, the kid gets handcuffed to the pipe. While Practice is ranting about the benefits of working for Vivaldi, Danny frees himself using the key he got from the bandit in his world.
Go fishing, Vigo.
And has Practice at gunpoint again. Slater handcuffs him. Danny says it's a typical movie cliche when villains always talk a lot instead of just making a shot, so they always lose. However, Danny himself makes the same mistake and gets threatened by a gun from behind.
You had to get in those last few words. I mean, if you had just fired, you would have won. But no, you're the typical villain. Dumb.
You ain't no genius yourself, kid.
Partners are handcuffed to the pipe, and when all seems lost, the cartoon cat comes to their aid. He is called one of the best men in the department for a reason. Jack gives Danny an assignment to get the crane hooked to the roof in 2 minutes. Slater comes up to the roof where the visitation is underway. Danny, with a gun in his hand, asks the crane man to help him, but everyone runs away.
Hey, wait a minute! You gotta work this thing!
And he has to operate the crane himself. Jack makes his way through the crowd to the deceased. He pretends that Leo the Fart is alive and needs a doctor. Help me! Puts him up on his shoulders and runs away. All guests are armed, even the elderly ladies. Slater manages to hang the body on the crane hook. Then Jack gets under fire but comes out without a scratch. When he falls from the skyscraper, Danny saves him. They find a spot to drop the body, but then Jack falls off the hook together with the fart. They both fall into a puddle of tar, so the explosion makes no harm. Whitney's rushing in a pickup truck.
I heard you were here. I thought you could use some clothes.
clothes. Wait a minute. No one finds this a little convenient?
Hey, kid, you always said this is a movie, didn't you?
At this time, Benedict tries the power of the ticket. He realizes that he can now travel between worlds. He's pretty fed up with his boss, so he goes and shoots him. At this time, Slater breaks into the mansion in his pickup truck and orders him not to move. He hands his gun over to Danny and gives Benedict a beating for all he's done. He dashes him to the wall and expects it to break as normal, but Benedict just disappears. Danny realizes that he had the ticket and moved to the real world. Jack finally believes the boy was right, and they're taking a step through the wall. The partners appear in the movie hall. Benedict and his henchmen run away, then they get in a taxi, and Jack shoots at it. He is puzzled that the car didn't explode after taking his shots, and thinks the cab is sort of bulletproof. He steals a car by breaking the window with his fist, and sets off in hot pursuit. Slater's surprised that he feels pain here.
My hand. It really hurts.
They gotta get back the ticket stolen by Benedict. Jack drops Danny off before slamming into Benedict's car, rushing on him. Danny warns his partner that these things work differently here, but Slater still decides to play that trick. But to Danny's surprise, his hero survives, thanks to the airbags, and so does their enemy. There's no one in the car. Maybe they used the ticket again. Slater sees a poster of his film with the name Arnold Schwarzenegger on it. Danny rushes to Nick and tells him that he was in the movie. Nick realized that he could have used this ticket all this time, but he was too frightened, and now the ticket is in Benedict's hands. Seeing Slater, Nick straightens up and meets the movie hero with respect. However, Jack is upset having found out that he is just an imaginary man.
I mean, how would you feel if you found out that somebody made you up? Your job, your marriage, your kids. Let's push his son off the building. Gives you nightmares the rest of your life.
Danny returns home to his mother, who is seriously worried about his absence, and she meets his new friend. Jack Slater introduces himself as Arnold
Braunschweiger.
Benedict walks the streets. Having heard the shooting, he hurries to that place. There, he understands that it is possible here to commit a crime and remain unpunished.
Take your shoes, man!
Take his shoes?
To test his theory, he shoots some stranger and is surprised that in 3 minutes there are no police or panic around. He yells several times that he shot a man, and the only reply he gets is to shut up. At Danny's house, his mom and Slater have a nice chat. They both worry about Danny. The kid is not happy that his mom turned Jack Slater into a regular guy. Jack, in turn, really likes to just chat with a woman. Slater convinces Danny's mom to let him out to help with his case. Benedict brings the Ripper, the villain of Jack Slater 3, into this world and gives him the opportunity to have his revenge. Danny sees Benedict sitting in a cab. After Jack finds this cab and the newspaper left there, the partners realize that the villains are going to the official premiere of Jack Slater 4, which will bring together all the movie stars and Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. All the news people are near the cinema, and Schwarzenegger gives an interview sharing the details about the future parts of the franchise. The partners are rushing to the premiere, and Jack says that Benedict wants to kill Arnie to solve his Jack Slater problem. The Ripper easily gets to the premiere as the actor who performed this role. He's packing his bag with murder tools. Slater finds out where he will be sitting at the premiere, and the Ripper also goes there. His place is in the next gallery. Danny notices the Ripper in the crowd, and he also notices the boy. In the hall, the Ripper swings his axe, but Jack disrupts his plans. Arnold knocks down Slater, but when he sees Jack's face, he calls him the best celebrity lookalike ever seen. Jack tells Arnie that he doesn't like him since Arnie brought him nothing but pain. Next, Slater is looking for the Ripper in the crowd, but can't find him. He's on the roof. It's all just like the time Andrew died. The Ripper wants to throw the kid off the roof first, and then deal with Jack, but Slater is about to change the scenario too. He crashes the breaker box and pulls his feet off the floor, so the Ripper gets the electric shock through the wet roof. The Ripper is destroyed, but he promised to be back. Jack hears Danny's screams. The kid hangs on the wall, clutching to the high relief. Slater rushes to his rescue. He cuts the rope and goes down to the boy. Now Danny needs to trust him and let his hands go for Jack to catch him. Slater throws the boy onto the roof and then climbs himself. They're going to get to the hospital, but their plans are interrupted by Benedict. He shoots at them, but the partners hide behind the barrel. Having heard the click of Benedict's revolver, Slater thought that he's run out of ammo. He comes out of cover.
Did you make a movie mistake? You forgot to reload the damn gun.
And Benedict says he realized that in this world, the bad guys can win, so he deliberately left one chamber empty to lure him out. Then he puts a bullet right in Jack. Danny pretends that he's just a scared little boy, but the moment Benedict points his gun at Slater to finish him, Danny attacks the villain and prevents him from shooting. Slater wins the fight against Benedict. The ticket falls from the roof to the street near the cinema, where there is a screening of the classic movie, The Seventh Seal. The ticket releases the death from the movie, and it comes out of the screen, terrifying the viewers. In the ambulance, medics are fighting for Jack's life, but Danny says that his friend needs to be taken to a place where this would become just a scratch. He needs to get back to the movies. The medics are not listening to him, so he takes out a gun, making them scatter.
I said turn around! Great! Just great! They always run away!
Danny jumps behind the wheel and takes Jack to the cinema. They set up a Slater movie, but the death is already here. Danny tries to protect Jack. Just out of curiosity, the death came to see a man who wasn't on any of its lists. Danny asks it to help him bring Jack back, and the death, with Gandalf's grace, tells him to look for the other half of the ticket. The plan worked, and Danny is holding a ticket that will bring Slater back to the movies. Friends step over the screen, and then it's time to say goodbye. Here the boss yells as usual. He's looking for Slater. The cartoon cat calls the doctor. Slater's wound is just a scratch. He will be fine.
What is this, some kind of a joke? I wouldn't even call this a flesh wound.
And Danny is now watching this on the movie screen. Now let's see how many people in the comments were triggered by me calling the T-1000 Terminator the T-800.
T-1000. Advanced prototype.
And please, share in the comments below which movie you would go to if you had such a ticket. Well, that was my recap of The Last Action Hero movie.